Joining us now is OjyOkpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Jinx.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning, Ayo.
Good morning, Oji.
Great. Good morning, Rufai.
Good morning, Oji.
Perfect. Well, all right. Good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. In the United Kingdom, King Charles III was presented with the crown jewels of Scotland in a historic Thanksgiving service on Wednesday. The monarch received the crown of Scotland, the scepter, and the sword of the State of the Honours of Scotland at the St. Giles Cathedral in Edinburgh, 8 weeks after his crowning at Westminster Abbey. The Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Catherine, known as the Duke and Duchess of Rothesay, north of the border in Scotland, joined the country's leading figures and 100 individuals from all walks of society at the church on the Royal Mile. In Guinea, a video of the interim president, Mamadi Doumbouya, taking a walk with his sons on an untarred road while being guarded by heavily armed military men has got social media buzzing. Doumbouya, a member of the Guinean Special Forces Group and a former French legionnaire, has been serving as the interim president of Guinea since October 1st, 2021. He led a coup d'etat on September 5th, 2021 that overthrew the previous president, Alpha Condé. Under sports, world's fastest female hurdler Tobiloba Amusan has claimed her third consecutive national title in the women's 100 meters hurdles event at the ongoing Athletic Federation of Nigeria National Trials in Benin, Edo State. The 26-year-old did at 12.70 seconds and at least 20 meters ahead of her competitors on July 2nd. Tobiloba claimed her first Diamond League win of the season with a stunning finish in 12.52 seconds at the Olympic Stadium in Stockholm, Sweden. Finally, under entertainment, following the euphoria of this year's Ojude, an annual festival which takes place on the third day of the Eid al-Kabir to pay homage and show respect to His Royal Majesty, the Awujale of Ijebu Land in Ogun State, Oba Sikiru Kayode Adetono. A video by filmmaker and photographer Niyi Fagbemi has captured the hearts of many. Then, tributes poured in during the service of songs held in Lagos on Wednesday for Otumba Michael Olashubomi Balogun, founder of FCMB, who died on the 19th of May, 2023 in the United Kingdom. Otumba Shubomi Balogun, a devout Christian whose love for church, family, culture, and tradition were unmistakable, got an amazing show of love from the congregation of eminent personalities who graced the occasion. The Cathedral Church of Christ had in attendance all societies, the Guild of Stewards, sidemen, and women. A beautiful rendition of It Is Well With My Soul was sung by the Lagos City Choral. Prominent among the guests was former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, who regaled the guests with how far back their friendship had been since 1956 in England, where they both resided at the Commonwealth Students' Hostel, and their many visits to Harrods.
We were young students. He was studying at the London School of Economics, and I was at Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst. And we all used to stay at the Commonwealth Student Hostel, Hans Crescent, and that we became friends.
There was a very emotional tribute from the royal twins, as he fondly called them, for they were his first grandchildren, and a eulogy delivered by Senator Gbenga Daniel on behalf of the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio.
He demonstrated his penchant to dare from childhood, the same character traits that has seen him succeed in everything he set out to do, including where others failed. Despite the economic challenges faced by every other entrepreneur, he overcame those challenges life threw at him. I pray that the new generation of bankers will learn from his doing and clearly understand the linkage between financial transmission and the economy. Otumba Balogun was a true symbol of the Nigerian dream and deserves all the accolades. His life and legacy will be remembered for years to come, and he will be greatly missed by all who knew him.
Otumba Shubomi Balogun, a man of proven immense wealth, who established the first indigenous stockbroking firm and issuing house in Lagos, had a legacy founded on solid rock. A courageous man who withstood every challenge and went where angels feared to tread. He died at the age of 89. His remains will be taken to his hometown, Ijebu-Ode, where he will be buried at a private family interment at Otumba Tunwanshe Court. May his soul rest in peace. Dr. Abati.
Well, Otumba Michael Olashubomi Balogun, 1934 to 2023. A man of many parts, a monumental man, if we can use that, a source of inspiration to generations of bankers and others in other professions in Nigeria. I was privileged to have reviewed this biography, The Cross, the Triumph, and the Glory, many years back. And that's a book that I would like to recommend, that autobiography, to many people who would like to learn from his example. Ex-Igbobi College, he went to Igbobi College. From Igbobi College, he ended up at the London School of Economics, read law, then got called to the English bar in 1959. When he returned back to Nigeria, he worked with the Western region in the Justice Department. He was trained as a legal draftsman. One of those few persons then, who were trained specifically by the Western region as parliamentary counsel. But eventually, he left that and went into banking. Worked, with the Nigerian Industrial Development Bank, NIDB. From there, he worked with the World Bank, Bank for Reconstruction and Development, as it was then known. Then he worked with the International Finance Corporation. Then, of course, he went into investment banking. And then as an investment banker, he ended up at Icon Securities. And that's one of the most memorable chapters in his book, where at Icon Securities, he was exposed to a lot of intrigue and all of that, but he was not deterred. His life was about hard work, about determination. He left Icon Securities and then set up his own broken house, they call it. And that's, his own business, ICSL, City Securities, as it was known. And then in 1979, he got a license to set up a bank. And then in 1983, the FCMB, First City Merchant Bank, became, operational. And that FCMB has produced more than 15 managing directors of banks. So he ended up as a banker of bankers, and many bank MDs, many in the banking profession, cut their teeth at the First City Merchant Bank. He was a philanthropist of note, either at the community level or in terms of what he contributed to education at the University of Ibadan, at Olabisi Onabanjo University, and in other aspects of life. Above all, he was a man of style. He loved to dress well. He was also a very charming, charismatic person. He also had the gift of the gab. He combined elements, good elements. You could say he was one of such persons in whom the elements were well mixed. And then even up to the detail of his buildings. Look at FCMB structures. Look at even his personal homes. He loved color. He loved splendor. He loved glory. It was a life well lived up to 89. He has left behind a legacy that is unmistakable. And it is important, that the whole week people have been celebrating him. He will be interred tomorrow. The only point that I observe is that well, we are not supposed to criticize our royal fathers. Before his interment, the Alayelua, the Awujale of Ijebu land, decided to appoint another person as Olori Omoba Akile Ijebu in the person of King Wasiu Ayinde Marshal. Well, I just thought, as an ordinary citizen, I'm not criticizing His Royal Majesty. I just thought that, you know, the Ijebu people could just have waited till after the interment tomorrow before announcing a successor. But who are we with red blood to question the wisdom of our father, you know, His Royal Majesty, you know, the Awujale of Ijebu land. May the soul of Shubumi Balogun rest in peace, and may his tribe increase.
Absolutely. Indeed. A life well lived. May his soul rest in peace. Well, let's continue on what's trending. Discussing the continued detention of the suspended chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdulrasheed Bawa, and the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. Well, on June 14th, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu suspended Bawa on the account of weighty allegations of abuse of office levied against him. His suspension was to allow for proper investigation of the allegations. Since then, he has been in custody of the Department of State Services. Reports say the DSS obtained a court order to detain Bawa for 2 more weeks, which has since elapsed, while human rights lawyer Pelumi Olajengbesi has faulted the continued detention of the suspended EFCC chairman. Well, in a statement, the lawyer said Bawa's continued detention amounts to a violation of his fundamental human rights and wants the DSS to release him without further delay or charge him to court to face charges preferred against him. In the same vein, the Central Bank Governor, Godwin Emefiele, who has been in DSS custody since June 10th, has not been charged to court. Rufai, last week we saw the story of Emefiele's brother coming out to say that, you know, he believes that this is a political witch hunt and he believes his brother might die in jail. I mean, this flagrant disregard for the rule of law, which I would love for us to discuss when I take this other story. In another development, the Presidential Election Petition Court concluded hearing of petitions before it on Wednesday. The court has now adjourned for the adoption of final written address to a date to be communicated. Before the adjournment, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima and the All Progressives Congress closed their defense after calling Senate leader Okpeyemi Bamidele as their only witness. The team of lawyers in the APC camp also tendered loads of documents to further affirm that Bola Ahmed Tinubu won the February 25th presidential election. Senior Advocate of Nigeria, OjyOkpe, said the documents the APC submitted were actually in favor of the petitioners.
The documents he tendered, particularly the report on the FCT, as a symbol of status and as a fountain of unity of the country, which they themselves tendered, was actually in favor of the petitioners. We were also able to elicit from the witness that Tinubu did not win in his own state, and that he was the only presidential candidate that did not win in his own state. All others won. Atiku won in his own state, Peter Obi won in his own state, and Kwankwaso won in his own state.
Well, I thought it was important to bring this important information to the public. A lot of people were talking about the fact that, you know, the APC did not tender enough witnesses. I'll take a tweet from Bayo Ononugwa, who quoted the APC lawyer, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Lateef Fagbemi. Well, he wrote, having taken a sober reflection of the entire case, we have enough evidence and we are not calling any witness. We do not intend to whip a dead horse. We announce the closure of the case of the third respondent, the APC. Rufai, if you can just...
Well, if the APC says they've made all their deposition, they've called all their witnesses, a lot of people felt they were going to stretch it, but since they said they're not calling any more witness, that's it. INEC's case too was very short. Mm-hmm. In fact, INEC couldn't get a witness in the first case. I think it was against the Labour Party case, but they finally got the witness there for domestic issues. So they finished there. So it's for the court to be able to decide now. Let's see how it passes. But going back to Emefiele and Bawa, we should not do this to ourselves in this country. It smacks of a lot of injustice and political witch hunt. Charge them to court. And I think what the authorities, the DSS, normally hand under is this ACJA. and which a lot of people are beginning to call that ACTA should be reviewed. Because based on ACTA, they say once you get a magistrate to be able to sign, you can extend the date. But for Emefiele, what are even the charges? Because since they were talking about terrorism in the charges, it's not supposed to be a higher court that is supposed to sign up on that detention. But because what they do with ACTA, pretty much they get the slip, they get a magistrate to sign, and they keep filling the dates in. So you do the first 14 days, you do another 14 days. With ACTA, sometimes you can go up to 56 days. And that's why ACTA should be reduced. Because when you now go back to the Constitution, you shouldn't detain somebody more than 24 hours without charging them to court. But this has gone longer for a while. They keep saying they're investigating. How long is it going to take you to investigate somebody and charge them to court?
It's unfair. It's almost becoming a norm. And
it's becoming a norm. No. And people are now using this law, the lacuna in this ACTA, to be able to punish people and violate human beings' rights. This man should be taken to court. Absolutely. I hear there's a court case coming up on the 13th of July for Emefiele. Let's see how that pans out.
Absolutely.
But this continued detention is abhorrent.
Yeah. Well, illegality cannot beget illegality. One of the criticisms of the previous administration was their, in some cases, flagrant disregard to the rule of the rule of law. And the Tinubu administration does not want to start on that note. We are hopeful that we're moving away from that. He had mentioned a number of times that he was going to respect the judiciary, was going to respect the rule of law, and this is a clear way to demonstrate what he has said. The world is watching. If there are any charges against them, let them charge them to court and let him demonstrate that he is going to be different from what we had with the previous administration.
Well said, Ayo. Dr. Bati.
Well, just a quick thing. Pelumi Olajengbesi, who says, you know, there are fundamental rights issues, human rights issues with regard to Bawa, and also maybe by extension to Olajengbesi. There's something called fundamental enforcement of fundamental human rights procedural rules, 2009, par justice, Legbo Kutigi. Now, under that particular rule, one, there's no application of locus standi. Also, there's no statute of limitation. So what Pelumi Olajengbesi needs to do is to file a notice of application for the enforcement of the rights of the affected individual. So, you know, they can go to court and argue it out. But it is true, ACTA gives you that room. And ACTA was the last piece of legislation that President Jonathan signed into law on May 29, 2015, and it's been there. But the rules that I've just defined are there. So Olajengbesi is not statute bad, either from the point of view of limitation or locus standi. Absolutely. That's what the law says.
Well, I wish we had more time on What's Trending today. Thank you all. Well, that's all I have for you on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.